Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today we're looking at World of Tanks Rush. This is a how to set up, play and review video in 4K. If you're watching this as a short, please make sure you check out the comments over on YouTube to, of course, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell and see any updates about this video, as well as the descriptions such as competitions on how you can win. There's various things such as the AmassGames playlist, the how to set up, play and review playlist, and various others that this is going to go into, including the family weight playlist. So this game was initially available as you can play it digitally. There's even a serial code underneath the kind of business card that you can check out the stuff. I've deliberately kept that hidden. This is by Hobby World, 2 to 5 player game, takes 30 minutes to play. So this also has some deck boxes. It doesn't come with the game. It is also sleeved, don't worry about that. So this particular game, it does say 30 minutes, but I think it's more like 2 hours to play, or slightly over 2 hours. So I'm going to set this up as a 2-player game, but just show cards for 1 player. You have 4 cards you're going to start off with. These are engineer cards, so you can see these are available here. So you take 4 of those. You're also going to take a special card, an engineer card, and a kind of an upgrade card as well. So that is what your starting hand is going to be. What else do you need to do? Well, you need to get out some objectives. So depending on the objective that we're playing with, you might have something like this, which is to do with the heavy tank symbol. So basically, whoever has the most of those cards, hence the symbol, is going to score 5 victory points. Whoever has the most victory points at the end of the game is the winner. So there's going to be 3 of these that are going to come out. So might have 2 chevron ones as well, and whoever's got the most circles. So 3 of the available number, I think there's 12 to 15 different objectives you can work with, is looking to get the most and therefore win. Sometimes they have multiple things. So we last played with a diamond and a square as well. There's also 2 player aids available, so you can see actually the various symbology that comes out. So there's 2 available of that side. Obviously there's more available if you want to swap them around. So how do you play the game? Well, you're also going to have some bases. So there's 2 ways the game can end. Take 9 medals, I'll show you how that works, or destroy your opponent's base. So let me show you how that works. You're going to have 3 bases. Again, these are worth medals if you can destroy your opponent's base. You do not win if you destroy your opponent's base, but it does trigger the end of the game. If you trigger it, then if you were not the first player, then that might well trigger the end. If you were the first player, then you continue out of the round. So that's how that's all set up. And there we go, everything is set up in that respect. So next we need to be setting up other bits. So we have medals. As you destroy certain tanks from certain factions, we have various medals that are going to come into play as well. So let me open another deck box and show you how that works. So let's grab the next one out. So again, make sure you check out the other videos on the channel. You've mentioned the playlist already. Also check out various other stuff via the description in YouTube, such as there is also competitions occasionally on Linktree, but they are time sensitive, so they do disappear. So we have some medals. We have 2 and 1s. So if you're playing as an American tank, I'll show you how it works. You'll be taking a medal. So in this case, you can take 1 medal if you happen to destroy 1 tank. If you haven't destroyed 2, then you can take a second medal as well. So let's leave them just at a shot, just to bring the other stuff into play. We have got 4 in total. So we have now Russian tanks as well. So if you destroy anything with a Russian tank, then you can gain some medals. Now the game can end also if all 9 of one country's medal disappear as well. So there we go, we have some Russian medals in play there. We've also got some French medals. So again, same thing, we have 9. Take all of one of them, and again that will trigger the end of the game too. So there's 9 available here. Each of these medals is worth a victory point as well. So anything with a medal symbol, that is what you're looking to get the most of to win the game. Very close to the last game, 29 to 27 points. So I have the German medals available. So we have 4 different medals we can get. So what else are we doing? Well, we're also going to be starting off with a number of cards. So we have tanks. Now there's another deck, but I'm just going to show you one deck. So you're going to shuffle these up. They have already been pre-shuffled, I made sure of that. And you're able to then go off from that and take your turn. So on your turn, what will you be doing? Well, you're able to buy some medals. Let's take this out of shot. And you can buy certain tanks. Initially, you'll have 5 available. So let's just move this out of shot here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you're going to shuffle up your deck of cards and draw 3. So 1, 2, 3, let's shuffle up 1, 2, 3 cards. I've got this to buy, so my purchase is down the bottom here. So I've got a purchase value of 1. All of these cards have a cost on the bottom left, so I could buy this card here. Why would I want to? Well, this symbol is not there, so I'm not scoring any points here, but it might be useful because I've got some defense and I can attack my opponent's base. So again, my opponent will have 3 of these cards out on their side as well. So in this case, I'll choose to, I don't know, that's the only thing I can afford in those ones. I can't see anything else I might want to do. This case lets me buy an extra card, so that's basically useful, but as you can see, nothing's worth 0. And lastly, I can buy a card for free with an upgrade ability up to the value of 1. So I might try that. I'll buy this card goes out of the game, this goes into my discard pile, so I'll place this over here, that card goes out of the game, and you immediately will draw another card up. So let's draw an extra card, and we've now got this in play. So it costs of 1, an upgrade's different to a normal buy action. Let's say I buy this card, and it's a Russian vehicle here. So let's take that card, and you know what, I might take this one actually, because it's got an upgrade ability, so I'll take that. Now, again, replenish. Again, I've got nothing else to play because I can't do anything with this card, so that goes out. And now, the first thing you do is you remove the rightmost card. That goes out into the discard pile, and you replenish, and now it's my opponent's turn. So imagine they do whatever they do. They buy something, then remember whatever they buy, they remove a card, and then always you remove a rightmost card, and then you replenish as well. So each round, every person has a fresh card that they can see, knowing the rightmost card is always going to disappear. So now it's back to my turn. Well, again, I've got the remaining 3 cards that I've not yet played with. So I've got these cards here. Again, they're worth a total of 3. Can I buy anything worth 3? I can. Let's just say I buy that card. Again, it's going to go into my discard pile. We get a new card out, but also we're then going to replenish because I've got nothing else I can do. It's their turn. Again, they've taken whatever they're doing. The rightmost card then also goes, and it's back to my turn. And now I'm going to shuffle up my cards because I've got them all out. And I'll show you how the crux of the game works when we get on to, obviously, fighting. So now, again, just a value of 3 here. Not too much. I don't have to buy anything. I can pass. But let's say I buy this one, even though it hasn't got diamond. We have a circle going on here, so I might want that instead. I don't know, let's just say I take this one, so I've got some cash to buy something else with. So that goes across, get a new card out, I won't buy anything else, that goes across again, a new card comes out, this goes into my discard pile, and then I've got, imagine it's my turn next, so they've taken their turn, they've discarded the rightmost card, I draw 3 cards, and now this gets more interesting. So again, I can buy 2 actions, so I've got a 3 and a 1, so I could spend 3 on this, replace a card, and maybe buy an extra one if I wanted to, or, and let's show you how this can work. I can bring this up to protect one of my bases. Again, you can lose if, well, the game can end if all 3 bases goes. And what's going to happen now is I can do one of 2 things. Well, firstly, I can attack the opponent's base. But imagine this was my opponent's base. It's not, these are the objective cards, but imagining it was, so 3 more of these cards, then well, the way it's going to work is it would attack one of them if it had a tank on it. I cannot attack it without a tank being present on it. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to go through the rest, and once you have then got a tank out, you can start attacking their opponent's base. So I've got the following. I've got this action, which is a scout action. So instead of buying a card, instead of fighting, I can trigger this. This allows me to move all these cards and replace it with 4 other cards, not 5. So I've got 4 cards come out. So we've got 1, 2, let's move it just so you can see that there, 3, 4 cards. And what can I do with this? Well, I've got a value of 1 left, which maybe not have been good to do, but I have a circle going on here, so that's good. So I'll take that to my discard pile, not buying an extra card. Again, so you'd replace a card, then you'd take the rightmost card off, and of course, so you'd replace that one there, remove this card, that moves along, bring out 2 cards. And I've got 1 card left in my hand, so I look at the 1 card, which happens to be this, once they've taken their turn, and then I've got 3 cards here. Now, if you have a spare base, then you can lose these, then I'm going to place out a card. So I can place out this one here, let's say. Now let's just imagine that my opponent has, again, they've got their base out and they happen to have out, I don't know, some tanks on it. So they're going to have out a base and they're choosing to play out something. And what we're going to do is a fight against their opponent's base. So what we're going to do is pick a card in my hand to play out, to then of course look to attack my opponent. So I'm just going to grab out a base card and show you how that's going to work. If you have any other questions, again, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. So we've got 3, obviously, bases out for the opponent. So let's just move these out of the way. We've obviously seen how they look. We can just lay these off to one side. Let's have them orientate towards me. So imagine they happen to have, I don't know, this tank here. This has a defense of 1. The attack is on the right-hand side. I now play out a card. So imagine it's my turn and I've got 3 cards in hand, whatever. I'm going to play out this card here. It's got to go into an empty space. It is now attacking. It's not using its ability. I'll come back to what that means in a second if I wanted to have done that. This allows me to now attack a base. Its attack value is 2. Its defense is 1. If it ties, it still beats it. So this will go into their discard pile. and it gives me a medal, so it gives me a Russian medal. This is going to go into my discard pile, so that has no benefit, like in the game Dominion, until the end of the game, but it is still worth the victory points. And again, the game can end once so many of these goes. It doesn't give you victory at the end of the game, but if you have more medals at the end, then you'll win. So now that is now prone and it's exposed. Now, if I had any more Russian cards in my hand, I could damage it, but what I've still got is 2 more cards. So I can choose to replace this one here and place it here. However, I cannot use an attack because it is not also Russian. So if I happen to have played that instead to do 1 damage, well, it had a defense of 1, so it would have gone, and then I can damage of 1. That is not enough to damage it because it needs to be 3 damage to destroy it. So that's how it's going to work. Now, some of these cards are more powerful, so some of them are going to have maybe a 3 or whatever it might be, or do a total damage, or bring out 3 in a sustained attack. You've also got heavy armor. So if you see a card which happens to be like this, it's doing 3 damage in 1 hit. It's got 2, but don't worry about that. This can directly damage a base. Again, that will then lose that, and for the rest of the game, they've only got 2 bases left. So it's a very interesting balance between obviously trying to make sure if from only 3 cards that you can have obviously 1 country that you're fighting with. 1 country allows you to sustain damage. You can't otherwise attack with multiple countries. Also, I mentioned a card that I had in my hand, which happened to be this one. If I play out that card, not to attack, this lets me draw 3 more cards. So I had 3 cards, you play that out, then you drew 3 more. And in this case, I mentioned a Russian earlier, I've got another Russian one, I've got some French ones going over here. So that could be very useful if I want to do more attack. Now again, remember, the game ends when all of these go, or these, or these, or these, or a base goes. Now the last game, all their bases went instead, and then you count up your medals. So I may have got the most of these ones, they might have got most of them. We might have tied, we get no points for that one. But then you look into how many bases you've stolen from your opponent, you don't count your own bases. You also, of course, check to see how many medals you've got. Again, if you do a direct hit, and you, or whatever it might be, taking out 2 of them in a turn, you're taking a 2 instead of a 1, which means you have fewer, obviously, duff cards to play with for the rest of the game. I like this idea of countries. I think it's very nice. I like the idea of obviously how you're spending stuff. You can have this symbol, which is dynamite, which blows up on your opponent's cards. They've got 3, they're down to 2. I like the history. We've got canine dogs, which are basically dogs with landmines on their back, which runs on your opponent's tanks. This did happen in World War II, but it turned out they mainly run, this is the Soviets who did this, but they mainly ran under their own tanks, which of course wasn't good. It is a long game though. It is over 2 hours to play, which I felt that it's too long for what it is. Nice options with the various cards that are the various objectives. That's really cool too. Big fan of that. But my rating would be like a 5.7 out of 10. So it's below average for me. It is too long and samey. But yeah, it's not bad. And I like the idea they play a card to trigger it. I like the upgrade abilities. So this is like a Panzer Kampfwagen, so I know how that's abbreviated too. Loads of other deck builders you can check out on the channel too. I've yet to maybe make a playlist for deck builders, but I think I definitely should. Again, thanks so much for watching. For now, back to the table.